The experience we got from the Jukwaa la Usalama is such that we have decided that instead of the lofty statements and conferences and workshops and big officers at the national level, we take the problem to the lowest unit possible. And I have told the chiefs and the OCSs that wherever there is no alcohol or drugs that are sold in Kenya without the support and the knowledge of the chief and the OCS. This rest of the stories about the IG, the minister, the CEO, and so forth, it ends at the very lowest unit, the chief and the OCS. And when I say that, the chiefs also said, it is true that we try to do some enforcement work, but if you don't get the support of the OCS, there's nowhere you can go. So finally, it's actually us within the National Police Service. Enforcement is the most important thing at the lowest unit. And I am happy that in some of the places, in many of the places we have visited, when we went to Coast, when we went to Northeastern, when we went to North Rift, there has been a renewed passion among the chiefs and the OCSs in different parts of the country who are carrying out serious enforcement. Only yesterday, the day before yesterday, a chief from Kerio Valley Sub-County in Mokora location, and the chiefs and the police officers went uprooting cannabis sativa that is planted along Kerio Valley, along River Kerio, because that area had been controlled by bandits for a long period of time. So what they used to do is to control the place and then plant cannabis sativa. And you cannot imagine, you know, trucks, the amount of bang that was uprooted can fit into a number of lorries. Planted, growing, very beautiful. Yeah, and I cannot believe that it was planted for purpose of only local consumption. And I have asked the relevant institutions to work on it. There must be persons who are buying and supplying it in urban areas like Kapsawar, Iten, Eldoret, Kapsabet. So the notion that we always have that the drugs that we have are transited from other countries, especially cannabis sativa, may actually be debunked if we look at these areas where insecurity is very high. Inside there, they are planting these, and I dare say that it includes my ward in Embobut, you know, because of those insecurity areas, again, they plant those, and I saw my chief also again from Embobut with the police officers trying to uproot the same plants. And, you know, if you want to know that they take it, is extremely important to these criminals. As soon as the chief did that in Mokora location, they went to our farm and slashed all our mangoes that she had planted over a long period of time. And I've told the chief to continue. We will see how to support her, you know, to compensate the suffering they are going through. But we must continue this exercise. And we'll only achieve it if the lowest unit is motivated and ready to do the job, and they receive the highest support from the national level. I will be engaging the Asset Recovery Agency to see how best we can also make it more punitive, first of all, for those who are engaged in these acts, especially because they get very, very lenient fines. So maybe the best way is to take away the lorry, the car, the equipment, you know, their businesses, their assets that they are built over time. And it's important for asset recovery to appreciate that the law on the proceeds of crimes and anti-money laundering law is not only focusing on corruption. It also focuses on all crimes, all proceeds of all crimes. Properly defined in the same law. And we'll be engaging the Asset Recovery Agency to see how best this can be done and make it more punitive. Of course, in some cases, even when we have arrested some of these drug traffickers along Isiolo Road, some of them leave the vehicles and run away. But it's important to target the big men and women within the country. I've realized from the Jukwaa la Usalama and the OCS is telling us that the many calls, you see these political leaders who come to us and say, oh, the certain OCS is not doing a good job. OCS and so is fighting me. OCS so-and-so is not supporting government. We only discover later that it has nothing to do with government. These are people who are selling adulterated alcohol. They are supplying these dangerous cheap sachets. And so when the police officers take very serious stand, they camouflage and come back either as government supporters or as people who are interested in the well-being of their voters, only to realize later that these are the serious business, in quotes, men and women. So if we seize these assets and we sell them, then we can get money to build rehabilitation centers. Yeah, some of the money proceeds from the account can be returned to build rehabilitation centers, do awareness, deal with victims, and so forth. I have told our county, regional and county commissioners to work with the court, through the Court Users Association, to raise greater awareness with the magistrates and the judges they work with at the local level. The problem we have now is these lenient fines, this problem of insisting on certain level of evidence. It's important to have evidence, but there should be, maybe we need to look at the penal code and see whether there can be presumption, certain presumptions that can be, that for as long as you don't have a certificate to manufacture certain alcohol, it is presumed that it is illicit unless you prove otherwise. Instead of telling the police officer, bring a certificate from the government chemist to show that this is changa. You know, I was in Kitale 2 days ago, and the OCSs are saying, no, it was a chief, and the ACCs, hii ni changa, tumeona ni changa. Hata vile imepigwa vibaya, iko na nguo ya ndani huko ndani, sijui nini. And then, unaambiwa na magistrate, okay, sorry, we are releasing the guy, we cannot proceed until you bring a certificate from the what do you call, the government chemist, indicating that this is changa. So, you know, especially, I know there are many lawyers here, we understand issues of evidence and so forth, but just imagine that chief being told, you look for government chemist in Kisumu from Kitale to go and test cannabis sativa. Anakuambia hii ni bangi jameni. Wewe magistrate uoni ni bangi. So, we have to find other ways of ensuring that this is we achieve the level of enforcement that we want, and the judiciary is very important. In the amendments to the law, we need to discuss and see how maybe the penal code and other legislation can be amended to make it easy. And these are things you only get to know if you go and interact with these people, and that's why I'm telling you, Jukwaa la Usalama has been exceptional in terms of helping us appreciate the real challenges. For example, in Makueni, there is this assistant county commissioner who told us they arrested somebody with bags of cannabis sativa, took them to court, and then he admitted in court that, oh, sorry, I'm sorry, this was my first time. Then he was sentenced to community service and then released to come and do some community work around where the compound of the assistant county commissioner. So wananchi are passing and they say, sini ule jamaa ndi ule wa bangi. Kwani county anapigia chakula county commissioner? So people cannot understand, and some of them come back, you know. In fact, I was told in Baringo that some are arrested and then they are fined 1 million shillings, and they can afford to pay 1 million and come back. So it means it must be very lucrative business. You find 1 million, they come back, they continue. So the only deterrent factor here is to seize their assets and to perhaps make sure that we close their accounts. Then people will start feeling that this thing is very serious. And I think that's where we should go, Bwana CEO, and help us, we work together.
As we launch this policy, I urge everyone present, and indeed all Kenyans, to embrace its tenets and become active champions in this vital campaign. Let us leverage the power of our communities, our cultural values, and our collective will to protect our present and secure future. On behalf of NACADA Board of Directors and the entire team, I extend my deepest gratitude to His Excellency the President, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, for his unwavering support for the prioritizing this critical national agenda. We are immensely grateful for the trust placed on us. Much appreciation to our chief guest and the cabinet secretary for pushing this document particularly and leading us in the fight against drug and alcohol abuse in the country. We greatly appreciate you, sir.